Hello, Kevin. Hello, Jack. Hello, Susan. Hello, Catherine. And hello, Rand. Okay, so today we are going to. Uh, I figured out his name. Hirogama Yamaguchi. Right? We're gonna watch his video, and I think what I'm going to do. You all have seen it before, yes? Everybody's seen it before. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do is just play the first two movements in real time. Just watch it. It's just a way to sort of start the class and get into it. And then I'm going to loop the first move, excuse me, so that we just play the first move over and over and over. And we'll play it like 10 times. And just do that with him. Um, you can pick whatever you want to do, of course, when you're following. Um, but what I'm going to be working on is what Susan said the other day, the rhythm. The rhythm in this. It's, in a certain way, it's so simple. But in another way, it's really difficult because what's determining the rhythm is his inside. And what I mean by that is he's not determining the rhythm from the outside, from his what he thinks he should be doing or from his physical body. He's doing the form from the inside and letting that determine what his rhythm is. And that sounds so very simple, but it's actually quite subtle, and I think very difficult to do. So we'll play this 10 times, and then I just want to hear your impressions. And then we'll go on to the first part of the second move and do the same thing. All right? So hold on. Okay, let me figure out where the end of the first move is. Okay, there. 124. All right, follow along. Okay, I don't know what happened. It's not supposed to do that. Okay, sorry about that. We'll start over. Years ago in Master Zhang's class, we would, particularly in the evening classes, we would do walking drills. So walking drills, for instance, look like this. And we were practicing on the music concourse in Golden Gate Park, which is very long, but it's also pretty wide. And we would do the width. So we would go from closer to the De Young Museum to the Science Museum, and then we turn around and we'd go back the other way. And then Master Zhang would turn around and he'd go back again. And then he'd come back and go, by the time you'd done that, you'd be like 20 times. And then he would turn around 20 minutes. He would turn around and he would go again. And about that time, your brain would start going, oh my God, when can we stop doing this? How long do we have to do this? And he would just keep doing it until finally your brain shut up. It just stopped torturing you. And what would happen then is you would fall into the present moment and you would just enjoy it. You would just enjoy it. And it was like getting a massage. It was like giving yourself a massage, right? So it was the real learning experience wasn't the walking drill. It was what you did when you did the walking drill for so long. Same with this. I'll be really interested to hear your reactions here. But we just did 10 times in a row, so that's about 15 minutes or so. And I found it really interesting. What about you guys? Kevin?
Well, today I was breathing. I was breathing with him, and then I was watching the spirals,
Yes.
and it was interesting. Every time I watch this, even every time, every repetition, you see something just a little bit different.
Yeah.
So for this mover, you're pulling in, and then he would rotate out like this, and
Yeah.
then go, and you could just see everything move, and then move the other way.
Yes.
I
It's,
enjoyed it.
and it's very relaxed, right?
Yep.
Good comment. Susan?
Um, it's funny. So having done this now and seen it several times, it no longer looks slow to me. It looks just right.
Yeah, exactly. I was
But
thinking exactly the same thing. Yes.
I was sort of paying a little more attention to what Kevin had mentioned the last time, the pung in his wrists. And so it felt like my hands were just kind of floating through rather than directing traffic, so to speak. And it was just it made the whole thing just much softer
Mm-hmm.
and more rounded, kind of.
I think watching him, I really noticed this time how round he is. Um, the clothes that he's wearing kind of help with that, but in a certain way, they also kind of obscure it a little bit. So you have to watch him over and over before you can kind of see the movement through the clothes. But I noticed he's actually quite large. The Hunyan form is larger, that is, the circles are bigger than the Qin village version of this, which is a little smaller. Um, doesn't really make any difference. They're just different styles. It When you first watch him, you don't realize how big he's really being because he's so soft. He's so relaxed that you just sort of okay, right? But if you really clue in and watch him, he's doing big. So when he comes down like this and he comes out, he doesn't just come out here. he comes out all the way and then begins to roll back in. So that the movement is not is bigger perhaps than the softness of it looks at first. So yeah, I noticed exactly the same thing, Susan. Catherine, what about you? What did you notice?
I noticed that I'm so far away from it. It's beautiful. I wouldn't use the word soft though, because I think that every move that he does is so full of himself, of him, and of the air around him. I mean, it's like like in with each move you can almost feel everything that's around him. I mean,
Yeah.
he's like moving through liquid, and
Yeah.
it's beautiful,
He
beautiful.
he's liquid and he's moving through liquid.
Yeah, yeah, he's totally fluid. Like there is nothing stopping the move. I mean, it's
Yeah. Um,
gorgeous.
yes, it is. It's very, very beautiful. It reminds me of something. What you just said reminded me of something I just wrote in the new revised website, um, where I mentioned that for new students, there are things about our movement and about just sort of being in the world that are so big that we just don't see them. And then I went on and wrote something else. And I didn't even think about what it was exactly I meant, but I came back later thinking about it. And the thing that immediately comes to mind is air pressure.
Mm.
We've got 14 pounds of air pressure on every square inch of our body. We don't know that. I mean, we know it, but we don't know it. We're actually inside a liquid with 14 pounds of pressure on each square inch of the body. At least if you're at if you're at sea level. That's such a big thing that we just don't think about it. We don't really notice it. But I think it has everything to do with what Catherine just said. Is realizing you're actually in water, so to speak. You're actually in. This is not a vacuum. Right? Wiggle your hands, you can feel it, right? It's actually, oh, so maybe you should pay some attention to that. Right? Feel that.
Mm.
Move that. All right. Good thought, Catherine. Rand, what about you?
I was thinking a lot about momentum in his form, like when is he going up, when is he going down, when like the part at the end where he goes down and then goes down a bit more and then goes a bit up. It's like I was interested in that and
Yeah.
like, what his direction is and how he changes direction.
What did you think about? I know exactly what you mean about that ending. So he comes in and he goes down, 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 and then he sort of stops, and then his hands go down, down. It's like a period at the end of a sentence. All right. Did you notice that, Rand? Is that what you're
Yeah, I
talking
did.
about?
There's a lot there. Once you look at it, you're like, oh, there's a lot going on.
Once you start looking, there's a lot of pieces there, and yet the more you look, you just keep looking and looking, and you keep watching it over and over, and it starts to make sense. You start to be able to play the song, so to speak. Jack, what did you notice?
I was watching his hands, which were this like kind of in a relaxed cup position. And it was like looking at a ball of chi. This guy was it almost felt like his hands were not really external. Everything seemed, it seemed like he had sort of a lot of mass and he was very connected to the ground. But again, that sort of that round feeling.
It's unusual to watch him. I know nothing about this guy other than just what's there on the description to the to the video, and a couple of sentences that other people have said that he was the master of Naoyanji Temple, etc., etc. I don't know what that means, but I can tell you that he's somebody who studied the martial arts. He didn't start. Tai Chi was not the first thing he did. I can see it in his body. He's very calm. He's very self-contained. It's not, I don't feel any outside aggression at all. He's not trying to show out or anything like that. But I think he's quite capable of taking care of himself if he needed to. He's got some background, and it shows in what he's doing. We're not going to have time, I think, to do any more today. It would just feel really rushed, I think. So one final comment, something I noticed, because you guys covered everything else. One of the things I noticed was his use of lateral space, side to side. This movement is composed of Lee circles, front to back circles. But there are places in there where he is subtly using side to side space. And then on top of that, he uses a little spiral in there. It's very subtle. Like Jack, you have to watch his hands. Right? And then into the next move. I'm sort of exaggerating it, but right there's that right, a little lateral movement and just a tiny little twist. Well, what does that twist do? What does that twist do to your core? Next time you do this, pay attention to when he goes down and he goes out a little bit, right? You go out a little bit to work up a little momentum. So you go out a little bit. The reason you don't notice it is it's so slow, right? Go out a little bit and then a tiny little twist. You just see his fingers go like this. Pay attention next time, try it, and see what happens inside your core when you do it. Okay, I don't know about you guys, but I really enjoyed that. And I'm going to enjoy doing the entire rest of the form over the next 6 months or so. I'm going to do it very, very slowly. So in the advanced Tai Chi class next Saturday, we'll do this again. I think we're going to have to do this at least 2 more times. But hopefully, maybe we can start to talk less because we've already said everything, and just practice and start to include a little bit of the second move in there too, where we go into the shoe circles, the side to side circles. So any final comments by anybody? Okay. Enjoy your day, guys, all right? And we'll see you next time. Ciao.